Is this one of the best cell phones on the market today? It's really close. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and this time we're looking at the Samsung Galaxy S8 Active. That's this guy. So this is the Galaxy S8, but it's repackaged. It basically comes with its own ruggedized case, and it's pretty sweet. It's a pretty nice cell phone. One of the things they do when they put this in the more rugged case is they give it a bigger battery. So the regular Samsung S8 has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. This is sporting a 4000 milliamp hour battery. What does that do? That means that it gives you 120 hours of standby, 113 hours of using it for music, 32 hours of talk, and it has wireless charging. So basically, this is a phone that if you've set your life up right and you have like a wireless charger in your car or something, it will never die. You can charge it in the morning and it'll be running the next day. How awesome is that? Really, really like that. Now it comes at a price. It's big and heavy, and it's certainly a little bit more clunky. But as you can see in this detail, the edges have shock absorbers. There's a sort of industrial presentation for the whole thing. I really like it, actually. The front screen sports the Gorilla 5, which is the Corning glass, which is super tough. I'm pretty sure it's not going to stop a bullet. Sorry, Wonder Woman. But otherwise, this is a pretty tough phone. And let's see, I have all these notes I'm looking at here. It's IP68 rated, which means that it deals with dust, it's water resistant. In fact, let's try out the water resistance. Okay, so I got some music. I thought we could have a little fun with this. Play some music. Let's get it up nice and loud. Okay. Not a great speaker, but I just happen to have some water here. You ready? Smartphone, water, usually not a good thing, but listen. Still playing. More importantly, when we take it out, it's still alive. It's alive. Thank goodness. Oh, stop playing the music. But that's okay. It is still a fully functional phone. How wonderful is that? Thank you, Samsung, for building a phone that could actually handle falling in the water. Nice. Why is this blood red water? Because it's coming up on Halloween. Sorry, we're okay. Back to the phone. 64 gigabytes of RAM. It has a micro SD in it that you could take up to an additional, you ready for this? 256 gig. Now, who the heck is going to have 256 gig worth of data on their smartphone? I don't know. Maybe you want to have every TV show you've ever watched on your phone, just in case you're trapped on a desert island, and have wireless charging. It uses a nano SIM, which is kind of interesting, but again, this is exclusively through AT&T Wireless at this point, just so you know. And AT&T, they know how to deal with nano SIMs, so you're cool. Now, let's see. I said it's Gorilla Glass 5. The resolution's amazing. It's running at 2960 by 1440, and it's an AMO LED, which is just the screen technology. I think you can see here, even just, whoops, let's go back, and even just looking at it right here, it's just really bright. It's a beautiful, vibrant color screen. Really, there is nothing not to love about this. It's 5.8 inches across. It's pretty decent size, bigger than your iPhone 7, for example. And inside, it's running the Snapdragon 835 octa-core at 2.35 gigahertz. It is indeed a very snappy phone. If you care, the GPU is actually an Adreno, which gives it a little extra graphics boost. Nothing to complain about there. And it's running Android 7 Nougat, or Nougat, depending on how you pronounce it. I actually had an argument with someone yesterday about this. He was probably right. Either way, Android 7, it's as close as you can get to Oreo without actually having Oreo, which is still in beta. That's Android 8. But Android 7 gives you lots of nice features. Cameras, let's talk about cameras for a second. So, The rear-facing camera here is a 12 megapixel, and the front-facing is a pretty monstrous 8 megapixel camera. They're really getting pretty close in capabilities. And here's a couple of examples. This first one is just of a sunflower, and you can see it's just a beautiful, vibrant photo. The detail, the crispness, the depth of the color, it's really remarkable. Samsung's already known for really good cameras on their smartphones, and this just continues that trend with some really nice camera. And it also can manage 4K video. Oh, sorry, I had a second photo. Here's another one, and this is something I wouldn't take with most smartphones. This is a close-up of a fountain taken from basically within the splash zone of the fountain. And again, having this rugged phone is really wonderful because you can take those sort of shots. You can take photos in the pool, because if it falls in or if you get splashed, whatever, you just shake it off and you're good to go. So really nice. So as I said, it can take 4K videos. It actually has built-in face and smile detection, which is pretty fun stuff. Haven't played with it too much. Frankly, I have children that don't always smile, and I can just see, take the picture, take the picture, take the picture. Nothing. But then again, maybe you can taunt them into smiling, as every parent understands. In addition to having Android 7, it also runs another really super futuristic thing, Bluetooth 5.1. This is the most advanced Bluetooth device on the market right now, as far as I'm aware. So, new things will be coming any day, but Bluetooth 5.1 is way into the most modern version of Bluetooth. It should give you better connectivity, less interference, less dropping. Very nice. Now, another thing worth noting is that it's also continuing another trend, which is that the connector on the bottom is USB-C. This is not a micro USB like it was on the S7. Now, I am fine with that. I think USB-C is a better connector. I actually really hate that micro USB has an orientation. It drives me bonkers on all these devices. So I like this. It's not quite as elegant maybe as a Lightning connector, but it's faster. And it's a pretty common cable you can find now. So USB-C, worth knowing. We've already talked about the battery. I've already mentioned that it's rugged, that it has edge bumpers, and that it's shock protection and everything. So there's not much left to talk about on this phone other than that it's just really nice. Except there's one more thing that this phone has. And I can push this little side button and it brings up Bixby. So what's Bixby? Bixby is Samsung's attempt at competing with Siri and the Amazon Echo and all these other voice-activated systems. And let's be candid, it's kind of half-baked. Not super impressed with Bixby. For example, here's a couple of screenshots. The first one, this is nice. This is now what they call this sort of shortcut screen, and it's nice. You have access to a flashlight and all this sort of stuff. That's useful. But when you get to Bixby itself and you start talking to it, the results just aren't that stellar. So, for example, if I say, "What time is it in Washington, D.C.?" here's what it tells me. Now, that's not Washington, D.C., that's Washington State. And when you look, you'll see, you talk, it actually types in the words, so you get that sort of recognition system there. It shows me that it got Washington, D.C. It just didn't understand it. The worst example is when I asked for the Premier League standings, which on an Apple iPhone, I do this all the time, I track the Premier League, and the iPhone knows immediately. Siri says, "Oh, here you go, here are the standings." On Bixby, it had no idea what I was doing, and it started making changes to the settings on my phone. And it's like, what? What's going on here? So, not super impressed with that. And then here's another example, because there's other features of it that are really pretty slick. So, using the Bixby recognition visual technology, you can also take a photo of a product, and then it will look that product up. So I took a photo of a Gatorade bottle and it showed me I could buy that very Gatorade at Amazon. Not super useful, but interesting. Way more useful is that it can do language translation. So here's an example of me taking a screenshot of German on my computer screen, and then the actual Samsung Galaxy S8 Active system automatically translating that through Google Translate and showing me the English translation. Now imagine next time you're in a foreign country and you're trying to figure out street signs, What a powerful capability that is. So that part I think is really cool. The whole thing with Bixby itself, it really needs at least one more major generation before it's going to be valuable. Oh, and one more thing is that I showed you the picture on the back here with the phone and the flash. The other sensor here on this side, that's a fingerprint scanner. It doesn't work very well, unfortunately. Even trying to actually register your finger so that you can use it for unlocking was an exercise in frustration, because there's so many buttons on the side that I kept doing this to turn it around and make sure I was moving my finger on all the different coverings, and I would accidentally press a button and have to start over. So there are a lot of the Android phones now that have a big sensor in the back for your fingerprint, and I think that works a whole lot better. Apple, of course, has it on the front home button for now. We'll see what comes. But this whole idea of just sort of tucking it next to the camera as a very small sensor might have been a little too small, a little over-eager on Samsung's part. That's worth knowing. It also does have facial recognition, though I'm pretty skeptical that that's a good way to unlock your phone. I mean, our phones already pay enough attention to us. Do we really want them constantly watching who's looking at the phone itself? It's a lot of privacy issues there. So, the only thing left to talk about is color and price. And before I do that, can I please ask that you go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can subscribe to my channel? Fantastic, thank you. Now, this is known as titanium gold. Not a massive fan of this color, but it's not horrible, because remember, it's basically like having a rugged case on your Samsung. So you need to look at it that way. The other color you can get this in is called Meteor Gray, and it's just sort of a darker, more subtle color. And that one I think looks a bit better. And it looks a little less, I don't know, inexpensive is maybe a word we can use to describe the back and what that looks like. That's up to you. Those are the two choices. You're not going to buy a case for this because that would be super redundant. It's already a tough, rugged, waterproof case. You don't need to get another case to put it in. So, really nice. Now, this particular phone, the Samsung Galaxy S8 Active, is only available through AT&T. And I'm just going to put something interesting on the screen. Let's see. Oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Here we go. So the only way you can get it is through AT&T Wireless, which is cool because AT&T has a great service and good coverage. And here's the thing, if you want to buy it flat out, it's basically the price of a laptop. It's $849 if you just want to buy it straight out. But AT&T has a service where you can actually spread your payments over a couple of years, and then it drops down to $28.34 a month. It's pretty painless. $28 a month for this, what I would say is one of the very best cell phones on the market. I love the camera. It's an amazing camera. I really love the battery life. I like that it's ruggedized and waterproof and everything. It's just less things to worry about. Not super impressed with Bixby, not impressed with the fingerprint scanner, but you know, I don't know that those are life-threatening or big deals. And frankly, with Bixby, there's plenty of hacks online where you can actually have it do Google Hello or Google Play, whatever the Google Voice navigation system is. You can have it use that instead. So you got a solution to that. Samsung Galaxy S8 Active, it is definitely worth checking out. This is Dave Taylor, and this guy's going back in the water. Let's give it some more music to play. We're going back in the water. So with this, I'll say, catch you later.